Hi everyone, I'm Grahtles, and welcome to the newest episode of the Best Start 2 series, which is episode 6, and we are going to start setting up for our mega factory. So anyway, I came over to the northern forest. I'm grabbing 4 pure iron nodes, 2 pure copper nodes, and then down here and over there I have some limestone that are pure. And these need to be transported back to our hub area over there where we're going to make our mega factory. And I had built these belt systems to carry it along, and I'll show you how I did that in the blueprint. I'll also have to make a corner one to turn these. So I made one corner, but it goes in the opposite direction, and we need it to go in that direction. So yeah, let's head back to the hub. I'll show you what we're doing and how to do it. So yeah, let's get going. Alright, so here we are at our blueprint maker, and if we go to Q and special, it should be right here. We unlocked that in I think 3 and 4, something early on, but anyway, this is our 4x4. So I'm going to grab a foundation, and I'm going to press E to make it 1. I'm going to line it up with the second and third. There we go. So next, I'm going to take this, do it that way, and then I'm going to take this and do that. Alright, so now that I got that, I'm going to press 3 because that is where my belts are. I'm going to start at the middle here, and let's get it right on the edge. And then we're going to run it straight to the very edge. There we go. And that is straight. I'm going to take these holes, and I'm just going to add them now. Alright, I could do the same on this side. And as you can see, that is on the center line there. Right off to that side and right off to that side. Alright, now simply run your belts in one direction, all the same. Now this doesn't really matter what direction, because of the fact that you could flip it. Let's come on this side. There you go. Now I'm going to color this with the carbon steel so it all looks the same. So now the bottom might have to be colored later on. I can't exactly see. No, we're good. Alright, as long as you can get the edge, you're good. Alright, so we colored that and all these. Next, we're going to add some windows. So I'm going to just take a window, any one of my choosing, and I'm going to hold it right there and press H and then go down. And I'm just going to slide that across that way and do the same on the other side. So this actually will stay on the blueprint. So I didn't know that you could actually line it up on the blueprint, but you can. So anyway, next we're going to go ahead and take that foundation and go right against that window there. And now we can just go right down like that, and you can leave it simply like that. All the pieces will go right on these belts, and you have an 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now I'm going to color the windows the same color. Hopefully it'll stop a little of the glitching, but you still get that glitching. And I didn't want that. So after I color the windows, I'm going to go ahead and go into architecture, take a painted beam, and it's going to naturally sit there. I'm going to press H, hold Control, and slide it down 1. Now, if you don't know how to slide it down, it's on your keyboard. If you're on keyboard and mouse, you press the down button. I'm going to do the same thing down here. Again, it starts right on that corner. So I'm going to press H and I'm going to go up instead. And I'm going to go over to this way and do that. And then I'm going to paint those, the black, and you get rid of that glitching. So I'm going to do that on both sides. So I'm going to do that on the other side as well. You must hold Control to get it that half a nudge. Otherwise, it'll go a full nudge. I'll show you. Up, it goes too high. Control, that'll get you right there. So we're going to go right down to the end. And that's how to make the belt bus. Now, you don't have to make corners, but if you want to keep it enclosed, you would need to make corners on this. So anyway, this is one. Now, I also added, because I'm taking it from wherever it is out in the world and bringing it to the hub, I actually added some power. So what I did was take these M2 outlets and I added them to each side, right there, and right there, and right there. And then I simply just ran the wire from one end to the other. You could do this on the inside, on the outside, it doesn't matter. You can actually put one right here if you didn't want it seen in the inside. It does kind of like touch the belt a little bit. There may be a little clipping, but if you prefer, you could do it that way. But I don't mind it being run on the outside. The only thing is, when you connect these, you're going to have to connect these little segments between this and the other blueprint, which is a little annoying, but it's at least being able to run your power neatly and cleanly. So anyway, that is how to run the belt bus. Next, I'm going to load up the corner one. So let's go ahead and clear this blueprint designer, load the corner. All right, so it is very primitive, kind of. It's just you go 1, 2, 3 this way and 3 this way, and it's pretty simple. You do an L shape, and I do have these belts running one way, and I need them to run the other way. So I'm just going to deconstruct this a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. And that. Okay. So basically, let me go into camera mode for you so you can see a little bit of an overview. So now, when I go into here, I'm going to grab a belt. You'll see those are the ins and that is the out. So you're going to want to make one that way, and then you're going to delete these and do them in the opposite direction. So I'm going to delete these. I'm going to actually grab that last one. And instead of running it with the in that way, I'm going to press R straight. And I'm going to connect that to there. Now that I got the first one done, I could do the same with the rest. So you only really need to make one blueprint and then change the belt directions, and then save it as one way and the other way. I don't know whether you want to like name it left to right. Now see, I messed that up because I hit the wrong one, so let's come this way. Now I also noticed that I somehow did the Mark III belts, not the Mark IV. And so I'm going to really want to change that to Mark IVs. Let me hop on up here. It's really hard because I don't have a hover or anything yet to kind of stand above this. But anyway, these are all Mark IIIs. I'm going to press E make them Mark 4s, and you could just simply do it like that. There we go. And now they're all Mark 4 belts, and they're going in the opposite direction. Just take the foundation now. Now this is going to be a little bit trickier. I'm going to come over to here, and that is because I have these painted beams on here, so they want to sit here. But if I press H, I could come over and then come down. Whoa, came too far. And then do it like this. Come this way. Oh dear, it wants to go the other direction. Well, we'll just go in the other direction. That's fine. There we go. And now that that's done, I can stand on here. And then add that. And it's good. So now this is bending this way. I have no idea. I think I just named the other one corner. So this could be, let's see. If I'm standing here, it's going out to the left. I'm going to call this the left. And save the blueprint. And then clear the blueprint. I'm going to load the blueprint from the corner, and I'm going to name that one right. And save the blueprint. And then clear the blueprint. So now it didn't work. So it took a minute to load. I got nervous there for a second, but it actually did load. So let's load it up, make sure it's the right one. So this one is to the right. Let it load in. And once we load in, if I press 3, it will show me the ins for that one and the outs there. And then if I go back to here, clear the blueprint, load the left one. There we go. That should be in the opposite direction. And it is. So that's perfect. All right, so now I can clear the blueprint designer. And if you would notice, let's see, go into Q, blueprints. So now I do have this corner one, but I have the left and right. So I don't need this corner one. I'm going to edit, and I'm going to click here, and I'm going to hit the settings button and remove that blueprint. Confirm. So now I'm good. All right. There we go. So that is how we made our blueprints. So next, I'm going to go back and start running those blueprints. The problem might be is we're not making a lot of encased beams. And so, I mean, I am making a lot of, I have a big storage container full, quite a few storage containers, but I think we're going to run out of them fast. So materials do make a huge difference, in blueprinting, but, yeah, it's gonna be one of those challenges that I've got a long way to go. I actually ran this kind of template of foundations to see, like, get an idea of how I wanted to run this. Now these are only a 1 by whatever foundation, and these are 2. So I'm gonna have to see when I get to the corners where I'm gonna come in and out to kind of give me a rough estimate. I mean, that's where these templates kind of come in handy. I can line it up to the bottom so I know exactly where I want to go. And this way, I can kind of get it exactly, it's not kind of. You get it exactly where you want it. So let me just show you for, purposes of showing you. So here is the 8 belt bus, right? And this is sitting on top of this. If I was smart, I probably would have made this 1 meter lower, but it's fine. If I buck it against here and I press H, I can simply move it over. So it would go right there, move it up, And that needs to come closer, and that lines up perfectly. So now this foundation helps me to get this perfectly lined up with the foundations I have at the hub. So anyway, that is how I started the ones over in this area, and we're going to bring those all the way back. Except I'm not going to make you suffer through watching me do the whole thing, but I am going to show you how I'm going to connect the corner to this one, if I can get up here. Oh, I can perfectly. So here's where I want to bend that corner. I'm going to go here, blueprints. This is going to be, let's see, to the right or the left. Let's press. It is going in the opposite direction, so I need the left one right there. I'm going to press R and auto connect. So that, if I flip it around, wants to line up there. I'm going to press H, move it over, move it in, and that has to come over right there, and I'm going to click. And that'll build it right there for me. So as I said too, don't forget your little pieces have to be connected. Here and here and so on. And then I ran a pole up there, and that gave me the electric. Well, it will give me the electric here when I get done. Now I did not put electric on this corner one, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do that and that. And then when I set up the other ones on the other side, I can connect it. So I did want to show you an easy way, once you're out of like the blueprinter, to kind of copy it. So if you go into delete and then press the middle mouse button. But, okay, wait. I'm going to show you this again. So if you press F, you'll be in dismantling mode for the one. If you press R, it does the whole thing. It dismantles the blueprint. So that's the default. That's the blueprint. You can middle mouse click now. Spin this around. We're going to auto connect. Make sure auto connect is on. That is the in to the out. And then H, move it over. So the auto connect doesn't work perfectly. Not exactly the way you would think it works. Let's just say that. So you could see all the materials this is taking. And I am going to need some silica. Now I'm not sure. I think that's the windows right there. So I'm going to have to start making some silica. I do not have a lot of silica. So that is one of the things I'm going to have to go back and start making. So anyway, let's connect the power. Alright, so I'll be back. I'm going to go start making some silica just on the fly. And later on when we make a factory out of it, we'll show you. But right now I just need to make it so I have some silica to make our blueprints to bring in. So I'll be back. Alright, so I just set up a quick little silica. I put a minor 1 on, well, I could drop this in here. A minor 1 on the pure quartz. That is going to this constructor. And I overclocked it because it's 120 per minute out of here. And I'm just making 56. It's fine. It will be collecting in the dimensional depot. I could set up more constructors, but this is just kind of like just so I could set up some of these blueprints and get started. So I'm just going to leave it at that for now. Eventually we're going to make a big quartz factory, and that will take care of a lot of stuff. I'm not even making the quartz crystals. That would be for signs. Right now I'm just kind of doing the basics. So I'm going to head back to our blueprinters and start blueprinting. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Alright, I want to show you why the blueprints didn't line up with the corners. And that is because these are centered to the center 2 platforms in the foundations here. So when I load, so here you can see there's 1 and 1, and it's in the center of the 2. When I load in, let's clear this blueprint, load in the right corner, say. Let's get out of there. This is lined up to the edge over here and has the 2 spaces here. So our blueprints, say the long one is going here, and this one is going off to the side. You can fix this by moving the foundations in 1. So this would come over 1 here. Now I did try to do this by loading, I'll show you. It's easier to show you than to do it that way. So let me get out of there. So Q, a lot of times you can place a blueprint in here. So now what I've noticed here is, let me just move it a little bit. There we go. H. So say I wanted to bring this down this way, and that would line up here, and then that would line up there. That would be perfect, but it won't allow me to do so. And one of the reasons is these little pieces right here are just outside that blueprint. So it'll allow me to make it this way, but it won't allow me to put this in here. So if I back it up by 1 and move it over by 1, it's fine because it clears the blueprint. So it's very strange. It'll allow you to do it and make it that way, but it will not allow you to actually put something in here. So we have 2 choices. We could just live with making the little adjustments with pressing H, which we still have to do anyway because you have to bring it back a little bit before it actually connects tightly. Otherwise there's a little gap. Or you can just fix it and put it here and then just nudge it back once. So either way, it wouldn't really matter. The next thing I wanted to show you in the Blueprint Maker, since this episode's all about blueprinting and making life easier for yourself, I'm going to load back in my blueprint of the 8 bus. So I did notice while I was running the bus, sometimes I wanted to pull electric from here, and sometimes I wanted to pull it from the other side. What I think I want to do here is I'm going to connect this to this on both sides. And this way, if I'm bringing electric through, no matter which side, it'll pull the electric through. Because this will all be connected now as one large power source. So all these little connectors are connected, and once you connect one to the other, it'll be fine. So we're going to save this. If I press E, we're going to save this blueprint and confirm. We're just going to overwrite it. So now that we have the electric all the way through, that's perfect. So let's clear this one more time. I'm just going to check and see if there's anything in my box here. There is. I'm just going to take it all. I'm just going to take a look in here. So if I press load, you can see now I actually have smelters in here. And I made a subcategory for it and everything else. So let's load up the copper. So this says it's saved as 8 smelters copper, half of 480. That means that I need 16 to do a full ore intake. So I need to place 2 of these and connect them. And this way, that'll do 1 node of my pure copper at 480. So how I made this is I used lifts instead of belts on the bottom. I don't know, I thought it would be a little bit easier to upgrade all the lifts if I wanted to upgrade this, and just these small little bits of conveyor belt. So this way I didn't have a lot of conveyor belts going through. Either way you want to do it is fine. Make sure everything's pointed in the right direction. If I grab a belt, this is pointed out. This is pointed out. This is pointed out. It doesn't matter about these two, whatever you want to do in or out on either side. But when you set up this set to another set, make sure that your arrows are pointed correctly. I'm going to load up my next set of blueprints, which is the iron. So iron and copper both smelt at 30 per minute. So I saved the same setup as the copper one, recolored it, and repurposed it for iron. And now I can set up 16 of these per node. And then that will make my ingots. And that is perfect for a 480 belt system. So you don't have to redo these. You just want to reset your machines with the right recipe. And then you can change it right along. So yeah, so you could just repurpose these for this stuff, and it just makes it so much simpler. So anyway, the only other recipe we have left in the smelters is Caterium. So let's clear the blueprint maker, load the Caterium. Now Caterium smelts at a different rate, and it's 45 per minute, and we have 10 of them. And the reason I did that is because it runs into like 10.6666 something. So if you press N and you do 480 divided by 45, it equals 10.67 blah, blah, blah. So anyway, you can underclock these and make a little more. You can overclock them to be just precise. But for now, 10 smelting the Caterium is fine for me. I don't worry about the extra numbers. I'm not a numbers person. You can fit 10 on here perfectly, as you can see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so I just left the same setup as the copper, as the iron, and added one more machine on each end and one more of these setups. And this is a complete setup, not half of a setup for the Caterium. So that is how you pretty much blueprint things. And we don't have electric to any of these because I don't have any floors or walls. You can add stuff. So say we wanted to, this is really difficult because I don't have hover and I don't have a jetpack yet. So I have to kind of climb over different things. You could add some kind of wall in between or a floor in between to kind of add your electric, and this way you can have this all set up for smelting like that. Now I'm going to just show you a little example of how to do that. So I'm going to clear the blueprint maker and close, thank you. I'm going to grab the foundation here and I'm going to stay with, say, a 4 for the outside of it. And let me zoom this, because it does get annoying. Now, for the rest of this, just so I could show you too, we're going to do just a 1 foundation here, and like this. Now, this is a little difficult because of where I am, so I'm gonna build this up just a little bit so I could sit a little higher, because that is the difficulty in not having, again, a jetpack or a hover pack. Next, I'm gonna take Q. I'm gonna go into my blueprint machines. Now, say I want to do the 10 smelters here. I'm just gonna hit H, and I'm gonna move this in to exactly where I want it, which I think I'm gonna have it line up with the edge here, and that should be perfect all the way around. Now you can bring it in to kind of match it up this way, so centered to the middle, but then it's not centered here. If I move it down, it's kind of like a half, let's see, does that work? You know what, that works. So I'm gonna just click that, and it's going to load that in just like that. So now I have that 10 set up. Where is that wire coming from? Oh, it's going over there. Anyway, We're going to go underneath. I'm going to press Q, power, and I'm going to grab this outlet here. Now I can come under here, and let's see. These are the twos, so let's do one there, and one there. And I have these two we could connect together. So that is perfect. Now I can go around. It's a little difficult here because I can't see anything. I'm gonna see if I can hop up here and squeeze along. And let's see, we got to get back down. It's a little difficult, like I said. What you could do is, now that you set this up, you can simply just go like that. That would make it a lot easier. So we did the first two. That's the third one. That is the fourth one. And our fifth one. There we go. And then I could put these back. Then I could come over here, take these out, make it a lot easier. Go to the last and connect. And now I could put these back. And then what I would do is probably just take these out and add these on the end. And then when I'm ready, I could just put this in as a foundation into our building. All right, so another blueprint we're gonna need is constructors making wire. So we did do our copper. We're doing our smelters. So we got all that set up. So this is the copper. It's putting out 30 per minute. Here's the wire. This only takes 15 per minute. It's half. See, one copper ingot, 30 per minute. One copper ingot, 15. We're going to need to double up as many as we have of the smelters to the constructors, because we could produce twice as much. Or you could power slug it. At this point in the game, a lot of people do not have the amount of power slugs to power shard everything. And so we're going to try and do it where we're doubling up. So we're going to have 16 smelters of copper. So for every blueprint, which is 8, we're going to need 16, and we're going to have 2 of those. So let's go ahead and show you. So what I did here, let me jump up. I can't jump up. Let's go this way. Jump up onto here and onto here. We could set up 8. So 4 constructors. They fit perfectly on a foundation, and we have wire. So we're going to need 2 sets of these constructors going to 1 set of 8. And as you can see, we set it up exactly the same way we did the smelters. So that is why I didn't kind of show you the setup, because it just doesn't make sense. It would just be repeating the same thing over again. But I will jump into photo mode and show you. So we have the outputs and the inputs. So the input is always in the middle. The outputs are always to the sides. And this is the setup. And here's an overview this way of the constructors. So basically you're going to lay down the constructors, put in the middle piece right here, which is the splitters, attach these lifts right here, put in the conveyor belts in between each one, and then do the same thing for the mergers, because these are all mergers now, connected to the lifts with the conveyor belt. So we are going to be using 2 sets of these for every one. So let's go ahead and look at what we would need to make cable. So let's go into the constructor here, and we have cable. Now, to make cable, you're going to need wire. We're going to do the setup for the wire. We're going to do the setup for the wire twice. So this way we're producing wire to make cable. But it takes twice as much wire to make cable. So we're only going to need one setup per node, if that makes sense. So when we get into the building sets, I will show you a lot more details. But for now, you could just save this one as wire and then save the other one as cable. And then you'll have the same setup for both. So I hope that makes sense. All right, so lastly, you're going to have copper sheets. So this is 20 per minute. And what ends up happening is you can lay down 2 sets of those and take off 1 set of 2 each. Again, this will become more clear when I start building the copper. So again, this will become more clear when we build in the next episode. So basically, you could just take this setup, remove the ends here, right here, and do a 6 setup, because you're going to need 12 of these to make the copper sheets. So I'm just going to remove that. And I didn't want to do that before because we actually needed it for the cable. But now, if you change these all to copper sheets, which is right here, then you only need 6 of these per. You'll only need 12 of these. So it'll make sense again when we build. But yeah, just copy this as a sheet and save it. Because the next episode, we're going to do the copper factory. So anyway, this is the way you set up blueprints in order to make building and save time in your factories. If you don't like these wires where they're connected here, I would simply just move this, and we would grab from there, move it over a little closer, I would say, and then you can add those last 2 to that so the wires aren't sticking out. Like so, before you save it. And then save this one as your copper sheets. So I'm just going to go here and save it as 6 copper sheets. And then set directory, add blueprint there, because it is constructors, close it out, and save. Now I did not save the wires one, but there's an easy way if you didn't do it, to do it, and that would be to clear the blueprint, go into here and load, go into machines, load the wire back up, and then change the machines to wire, and then save it. So I'm going to save these, not wire, cable. There you go. I'm sorry. I've been talking way too long, but I do want you to have a good understanding at how you can repurpose your setups, and this way you don't have to constantly make the same setup over and over again. So it is the easiest way to build, honestly. All right, and now we can see that it's cable. We can jump back down, and then we can do here 8 cable constructors, and then set the directory to put it right here, and close this out, save blueprint, and now you have all your blueprints. All right, so lastly, we're going to make a blueprint for lights. So these are just large signs, which I unlocked, and we can do this. I'll show you the material using. So the materials are encased beams, copper sheets, and the crystal oscillators. So in order to get the crystal oscillators, let me go down to the hub. You're going to have to go into your MAM, and under quartz, it's going to be right here. crystal oscillators. So you have to make some crystal quartz in the mine that previous episodes I showed you. With reinforced plates, you'll unlock that, and you can actually hand automate these right here in your crafting bench right here. So once you do that, you can make lights. So we're going to go up, and I'm going to show you how to put the large billboards onto your ceilings using your foundations. All right, so here is our large billboards. I'm going to just delete that because technically you cannot place those on foundations like that. So let me just add a few more and I'll show you. So if we go into our Q menu and we go into logistics, where is it? Is it organization? Yes, organization. You cannot place these like this. It'll just hang down. They won't lay flat. So what you need to do is you put your foundations in. And what I do is I usually block up and then block across. And then what I'll do is I'll grab a painted beam. You can come down to the very edge of this and run it across. Like that. Then you're going to go back into organization, large billboard. And now you can lay it flat, spin it around, get it right up to the edge there. So you can see you can nudge it. If you press H, you can nudge it into place. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Control and nudge it up with my up key, my page up, and I'm going to place it right there. So next, I'm going to place the other one right there. Now, if you nudge it too far, there you go. You can put it right there if you want to. So I'm going to erase that. And I do not want to erase... Well, you can actually erase this now, because once you set it up like that, as long as you point it towards the billboard there and it attaches to there, that's how you get it. Now, let's go into the settings. E. Select a color. So you're going to bring these all to white and copy this and then paste it and then paste it and select a color. You're going to go to here and you're going to go to backgrounds and click none. So now you have the white. Now if you want this even brighter, you can press this, the bottom one, and make that 0. And that will make it illuminate even brighter, and then select color and then close it. Now what you can do is copy that, go over to this one and paste. So now you have your lights. Now you can delete this and all your foundations, and now you'll have lights for the insides of your buildings. So let me just get rid of all this. Don't forget to save it. There we go. And now I can save this. Set directory. Make a new one. I'm going to set it here as lights, which I had one there. Save the blueprint. Override it. And there you go. You have now lights that you'll be able to put into your factories. These are simple. You can add to them, make them fancy, do a whole bunch of different things. I've got a couple of different versions of this, but this is kind of just the simplest way to do it. And yeah, that's going to conclude today's episode on blueprints for getting ready to make our mega factories. Make our factories for copper and iron and all that, but we pretty much set up for copper this for the next episode. And basically you can take those skills and do it for iron and do it for everything else you're doing. But anyway, we're going to leave off there, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I also have a Discord, and I'm in Discord quite often. I am in the voice channel quite often, and if you want to join the Discord, I would be happy to help. I also have quite a few other people that would help you in there. And yeah, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.